I quit Etsy. It was great. And today I want to talk to you about the 7 reasons why I quit Etsy. Because I feel much better now. I think you should know why. And maybe you could too. Let's find out. The first reason I decided to leave Etsy is because when you're selling a physical product, expenses are always going to be high. And quite frankly, it really sucks to have to buy inventory in the hope that you may or may not sell it, then also have to pay to sell online, to market yourself online, for tools that ensure you can get found, and for any other thing you may be paying for, aka that printer that keeps breaking, all those supplies you managed to break last month when you were making all those mugs, and a whole slew of other crap that you probably bought and didn't need, but you had to learn. Be hard. Businesses be hard. So a lot of this is resolved by selling a digital product. What do you know? But some of us don't want to make a digital product, or we don't know how to make a digital product. Or you're like me and you realize that no amount of zero work at all will make you happy selling on Etsy, but we'll get to that in a minute. So physical product was my first reason. I didn't want to do it. It was a lot of work. It was pretty expensive for no reason. A lot of the things that I was doing was making me a lot more money for a lot less expense, meaning I got to keep a lot more profit. The second reason I kind of waved bye-bye to Etsy is because I got really sick of designing a product over and over and over. One thing you'll discover if you start to have any success on Etsy or any e-commerce platform at all is that they are so busy and they have so many people selling so many things that you basically have to have a huge library of products. And how do you get a huge library of products? You make a crap load of products. Which means I was designing things every single week. We're talking art prints, mugs, designs 5 times a week or more at my absolute peak, which was insane. And quite frankly, while I loved being creative, and that was really the most fun part about selling on Etsy for years, after about 2 years, my brain kind of ran out of juice. And I think that the reality is most creative people are eventually gonna get sick of doing the same exact thing over and over again. The number 3 reason why I quit Etsy, I saw no reason to keep running a side business that was making literally a quarter of what my blog was making. So when it came to my business, I started on Etsy and moved on to creating a blog, which within a year was making 3 times as much as my Etsy shop, and I was getting to keep 10 times as much money in the end. I was able to actually pay myself, something I had never figured out how to do on Etsy, and I was able to charge more for a more expensive product, so it was easier to make more. Bottom line, certain things on Etsy basically have to cost a certain price, otherwise you can't be competitive. You may have noticed that it is nearly impossible to sell expensive items on Etsy. Can be done, but it's hard. You really gotta be willing to do a lot of stuff to make it work. But it was a lot easier to sell expensive things as a blogger. So I switched and I decided that spending my time to make less money was kind of stupid. It's a simple equation. Do you want to work less to make the same or more money? People got really upset about this and they were like, you can't leave Etsy, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God. I don't know why everybody was so angry at me for this, but this is simple. I created a business so that I could have more time for me and give people the best, most fun version of myself. And Etsy had completely destroyed that for me. And I was miserable and I wasn't having any fun at all. And I was sick of doing the same thing over and over again. So simple fact, if I worked less, I had more time and energy to give to my customers. I was making more for less of my time. And isn't that kind of why we all started working for ourselves in the first place? When I basically got exactly what I started the business for in the first place, I decided to cut the fat, and that was Etsy. Okay, this 4th point, I decided to stop torturing myself because I had to keep the shop open because it was making some money. When we've basically been working a job our whole lives and been told that the only point of a job is to make us money, it's really hard to suddenly say no to something that's bringing in money. In fact, I held on to the Etsy shop for 2 years, longer than I wanted to, specifically because I was afraid to let go of that extra money. Even though I wasn't having very much fun and the shop was literally on vacation for more than half of the year, most of those years, because it was making me miserable. I was literally paying myself tiny increments of money to continue to stay miserable, which in retrospect seems kind of weird and stupid, but you know what? No judgment, we do weird things for money. We all do weird things for money sometimes. The fact is, once I gave up that Etsy shop and started to actually focus on where the majority of my money was coming from, the blog and the rest of my business blew up, far surpassed Etsy, and it made me realize that holding on to something just because it's making you money is actually making you less money than you could be making if you were focused on the thing that you actually want to do. Makes total sense, because you know what? When you actually want to do things, you put a lot more work into it, you try a lot harder, you're willing to work harder for your customers, not not to mention you're having fun and everybody can tell. So it doesn't surprise me at all that giving up the Etsy shop actually made me more money, but holding on to it was kind of a waste of 2 years. You live and you learn. Okay, kind of hit on this, but number 6 is it's hard to charge a lot for physical products. So I decided to move into products that I could charge more for, because I figured out basically that I would need 100,000 people to buy my products every single year to hit my financial goals. As someone who used to work in Silicon Valley doing SEO, I know exactly how hard it is to get 100,000 people to any website. I mean, I was in that company looking at their numbers and they weren't even getting numbers like that, which alarmed me because I was like, hey, as a small business, I'm probably not going to be able to beat a Fortune 500 company's numbers. So maybe I should find something I can charge more for, because then I won't need 100,000 people to buy. I'll only need 500 people to buy or 50 people to buy, which seems much more doable and way more reasonable. Okay, number 7 is really specific to me, but a lot of people come to me with this exact same problem. Basically, the time commitment on Etsy was too much for me, which may sound crazy because once I figured out how to do print on demand, the time commitment for my Etsy shop was basically an hour a day. So no, I'm not some spoiled crazy human who works like a second a day. What this means is when a 1 hour time commitment, which is legit nothing, feels like too much for you, that is a dead giveaway that you don't want to do something. So the fact that 1 hour a day felt too much and I dreaded it and it was overwhelming meant that Etsy was wrong for me. And that was kind of the final wake up call where it was like, it's time for me to walk away from this. So those are the 7 real reasons why I left Etsy. I hear these reasons all the time from other sellers, and the fact is it all just built up to one big pile of I hate this and I don't want to do it anymore. You don't need to torture yourself to make your business work. You can pivot from Etsy to something you like more if you're unhappy with Etsy. You can also pivot to a totally different product if you love Etsy, you just don't like what you're selling now. Don't let money stop you from doing what you want to do, because if you do, then there's really no point in working for yourself, is there? Because if you were just doing it for the money, you could be at any job, anywhere, and it wouldn't matter. And you could just go hate that and it would be easier than working for yourself. So if you're gonna make this business and you're gonna create something that works for you and you're gonna go out of your way to set it up, it might as well be something you actually like and not something you're chasing the money for. Because chasing the money is basically the same as having a full-time job. Moral of the story, don't torture yourself. And we're gonna be talking about lots of ways to pivot your business here and on my Instagram if you wanna check that out. Thanks for watching me babble. Like and subscribe so I can afford to continue feeding my 6 cats, because I'm insane, legitimately. Please like and subscribe. Real convincing pitch to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Enjoy my rant. Bye. When you talk to yourself in a room alone for YouTube, you get to the point where you're like, I feel like I'm not making any sense anymore, and every word that comes out of my mouth means nothing. Where am I? Why is this light so bright?